Our next presenter, guys, don't forget to jot down your notes. A lot of good companies here. Vince Harkowicz, I hope. I apologize. CEO and co-founder of Grownetics. Vince is a serial entrepreneur and longtime indoor cultivator. He's been growing indoor plants in controlled environments since 2005. Vince's career took him to Shanghai, China, where he spent 6 years, bringing consumer and industrial products from napkin sketch to mass production. And that's when he realized there was a real need for a drastic shift in the way we produce some of our most vital resources and shift towards open and sustainable practices. Grownetics started in 2015. It says here there's only 2 full-time employees, and yet they have almost $1 million in revenue already, and they've raised $1.3 million in capital. Welcome, Vince.
Thanks, Julie. Checking that the screen is coming through okay and that my audio is coming through as well.
All good.
Alrighty. So thanks for that introduction. Yeah, my name's Vince and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Grownetics. And we've built the first open smart farming platform to enable hyper-efficient controlled environment growing. This idea came out of this notion that when we're growing plants around sensors, and with the price of sensors falling drastically, we can put more sensors into farms and indoor grows, that we can automatically link all this data to the plants being grown to do some very sophisticated learning on what leads to growing any crop better. So the challenges facing our industry are falling commodity pricing, and then in terms of leafy greens, that's even more exacerbated. Growing anything from pharmaceutical crops to vertical food in a highly efficient, automated fashion is a brand new field, and it is a very exciting one. And through the course of this presentation, I'll share some of the projects that we've done that really prove what's possible with these new technologies. But the challenges are there are very few best practices because it is a new industry. And when you change one element of your cultivation, that changes the entire, every other aspect of how the plant grows. There's also a lack of data-driven cultivation processes, with only about 5% of farms operating based on data-driven cultivation. And that is a very surprisingly low number, but it's because there are few tools for these cultivators. And then lastly, there's a severe lack of skilled labor. Again, because it's such a new industry, growing in controlled environments, there are not great educational programs training people on how to grow plants efficiently at scale at very high quality. So Grownetics empowers these smart farmers to grow with 2 to 3 times less cultivation staff, 30 to 60% higher efficiency, and 10 to 20 times higher precision. Now, these are pretty dramatic numbers, but I'll show you projects where we've achieved these, and we believe that these can be exceeded as cultivations scale up. Now, how we actually go about this is we've developed a number of firsts in indoor cultivation. Real-time 3D microclimate mapping being one of them. Understanding how plants and how the environment changes when being grown under lights and with different HVAC and fan configurations is the real challenge that our customers face. We also integrate with any sensor. With my experience in China, I know that there's always going to be cheaper and better sensors coming onto the market, and it's imperative that cultivators have access to the latest technologies without hardware lock-in. If you have a business model to be staying ahead of the competition continuously, you want to be able to integrate whatever new sensing and controls platform is available. Now, we also include individual plant tracking, individual plant analytics. We facilitate multi-facility management, crop logistics, and SOP management. We also have variety-specific cultivation recipes to help cultivators understand how one particular crop or strain is doing compared to another and what's leading to those yield outcomes. And we use all this together to feed our AI-powered recommendation engine, which is the first of its kind to be able to make control systems actually understand what plant is growing in the control zone and tailor that environmental control to that specific variety at that site for that customer. And that's how we're able to deliver quality and consistency at any scale. Grownetics is also the integration leader when it comes to smart farming technologies. Most cultivators are faced with juggling 5 to 7 different subsystems to grow their plants, and that relegates the cultivation director to essentially become a facility manager, and it wastes their time. Instead of being able to focus on what's leading to crop growth and doing the research that they were hired originally to do, they end up being relegated to pulling all these levers and adjusting them all in real time. Grownetics takes all these different aspects, integrates them into one operating platform where all the data can be used to easily understand how the environment and how all aspects of control are affecting plant growth, and then to help them to build continuous improvement models in their businesses to stay ahead of the competition and to continue to improve and follow where efficiencies are coming from. The first case study I'd like to share is just a fantastic project that we did in Northern California, where we were able to prove over 90% higher efficiency than traditional first generation indoor growing under HID lights. And this shows how an open platform allows cultivators to take the latest technologies and hyper efficient growing, combine them into true next generation efficient smart farms, helping us to go away from growing plants with coal or doing research, doing indoor cultivation, growing plants with coal, and moving towards truly efficient, sustainable alternatives to large scale industrial agriculture, which has its place but needs to be supplemented by hyper efficient urban and vertical farming. The second case study we have showcases just the sheer amount of data that we can collect for our cultivators. Crops for Health is a hemp cultivator heavily focused on genetics development, and by leveraging the Grownetics platform, they're able to automatically link all the environmental data related to growing, all the nutrient data related to growing these different varieties that they're breeding and producing, and then taking that data, and then when they go to sell these varieties to customers in the future, they'll actually have the ideal grow recipes to also deliver to those customers, promising not only will I give you these genetics, but I'll also give you the ideal conditions to produce these cannabinoids that these genetics produce.
Okay. Hey, Vince, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to cut you off there and let the judges jump in and ask some questions.
Sure.
Sure. Jay, I feel like this is up your alley. Do you have a question for Vince?
What's the amount of raise that you're requesting, Vince?
We're currently raising 1.1 in preferred equity.
Okay.
Okay.
And these
one
are
of the Davids, do you have a question?
Controls. Hello?
We can.
Do you hear me,
Could you
Julie?
repeat that question, Jay?
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, you answered the question about the raise, but with all of this modulation and referencing the control environment around the plants, are you doing anything with the soil itself?
Absolutely. So we have very sophisticated soil monitoring, and actually we help cultivators understand which different soil mediums, whether that's cocoa or living soil systems, are leading to the best yields in whatever cultivation system that they're using.
With the objective being that you will determine what mix works best for which strain, and this can apply to plants outside of the world of cannabis as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Vince, just quick question. I saw some of your numbers on future projections in terms of size. What kind of scale are you doing right now? And do you have concerns with scaling in any direction?
So our projects are getting larger and larger because it turns out growing at massive scale is one of our sweet spots. It's really where Grownetics shines. So the projects we're working on now are over 200,000 square feet, going into the million square feet size grows.
Thank you.
Excellent. David Hess, do you have a question by chance? You look pretty engaged on that.
Yes, and full disclosure, we are on the cap table of Grownetics. We've been big supporters of Grownetics for quite a long time. And I just want to acknowledge it's to all the presenters. Everyone's doing a really great job. I know 5 minutes is not a long time to get everything you want to get across. And don't forget, there's networking after, as Julia has mentioned, and I think all of our contact info is available on the website as well. And you know, again, or rather, my question would be, Vince, can you quickly just describe the moat that Grownetics is sort of building around itself, and the barrier to entry for others that are either in the space right now, that, you know, some of the unique differences about Grownetics, some of the value add that you offer, and the barrier to entry for others that are thinking about entering the space?
Yeah, sure. So we're an open platform, which is to say that we see us being able to help all entrants in the controlled environment space rise quickly. We partner with sensor companies, controls companies, lighting companies to take all their data and facilitate their ability to actually give their data context. So that's a unique position that Grownetics holds right now. And it's been recognized not just in cannabis and hemp production, but also in research institutions and universities, where we're working with some of the top indoor ag schools, Michigan State, USDA, on developing these first of their kind efficiency models. And so our connection and our positioning in the industry, being experienced cultivators and building this very open platform to help researchers and leading cultivators in the cannabis space understand really what is leading to those optimal yields, is a position we uniquely hold.
Thank you very much, Vince. I'm afraid we're out of time and we have to move on. Thank you, judges, for your questions.